Tat Talk with Webb is back, and we're here with Josh, the Mega Man Hardy. What's up, buddy?
Nothing, man. Just trying to clean up a little and get ready for the week. Yeah.
Yeah, same here, dude. I got to go to work tonight, so I feel you on that. And then I got to go to a meeting after I get off of work at 7. So, yeah, I understand that one.
Yes, sir.
But let's jump right into it. We know that Bama has hired a new offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator. We'll jump into that first. Basically, we know Kevin Steele first. His history. He served at Bama and was only there about a year. Obviously, if he was that good, we'd have hired him over Kirby Smart.
Yes.
We know how Kirby Smart went. Just quick rundown of his history. When he was at Clemson from 2009 to 2011, he ran basically a base 4-3 defense. He was there for a few years. In 2009, he was not ranked 19th in the country in total defense. He allowed 306 yards. In 2010, he was 13th, and he allowed about 313 in yards. And then in 2011, it kind of fell off a cliff. He was 71st in the country, allowing 400 yards. So I don't know if that was to do with athletes. I don't know if the talent just kind of went down. During that year, he was 6 and 7. That last year was kind of a disappointment, and he left there. And he only coached 7 top 100 athletes while he was there during that time at Clemson. When he went to Auburn, he was there from 16 through 20. Still ran a base 4-3 defense. They did have better results when he was at Felder. He was top 7. He only had 7 top 100 defensive players again.
Yeah.
But and we have 36 currently. Keep that in mind. Still run a base 4-3, and he also switched up a lot. Now their defenses when he was at Auburn, they were top 15 all years. They were number 7 overall. They were 12th. Then they were 14th, and then they were 17th. So that's pretty good.
Yes.
He turned in some good defenses. If you remember, several Iron Bowls, Jalen Hurts, we barely got out of there with wins, and we had a lot of NFL talent during that time and won championships.
Yes.
And even during that time, he gave us all we wanted.
Was he there? No, that was 14. Or what year was it that Auburn played Jameis down there in Pasadena?
Oh man,
The one that they lost with Gus. Was he the DC then?
Oh man, that's a good question. He may have been the DC at that time because I wanted to say that was like 15, maybe 16.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So yeah, he was the defensive coordinator during that time. But if you remember in that game, they also were not. They just took their pedal off the gas. The offense did in that game. Now we know when he left Auburn, he did a lot better. He went to LSU, and he had quite a few more athletes. And he was only there 1 year before that whole ship ran off the rails. But he was 10th in total defense. They were 13th in scoring defense in 1 year without any of his guys that he recruited. And when he was at Bama, the 2009 class, he recruited all those guys. That was all him in 2010 as well.
So a lot of NFL talent.
He does have weird blitz packages that work really well. What's your thoughts going forward with Kevin Steele?
My thoughts are, you have to trust anything Saban says. I mean, he's the GOAT, so he knows more than any of us combined will. But all the hires, the Auburn defense was good, and it looks like he can produce a lot with a little from the numbers that you were giving me with the top 300 athletes. And so, I mean, that's a positive there in my mind. And I think you touched basically he has complex blitzes or blitz schemes, and so that's another positive as well. But him just being in the 09 does have anything to do with those defenses, man, is staggering to me because that's just NFL talent across the board, man. I mean, yeah.
Oh, it really was. And I think the thing that was really staggering to me is when I looked up the numbers that he had. Now, Clemson, I just think he just didn't have any athletes there. I mean, it shows because he just kind of went downhill. But when he was at Auburn, he only had 7 top 100 athletes on defense. But during those years, Auburn really didn't have amazing offenses, but they put up great defenses, even against us. I mean, they shut us down 2 years in a row.
I remember.
We know he can recruit. Like I said, I know we had talked earlier. I felt like when the hire was made, it felt like he was out there like with Jim Leahy, just drunk, making picks.
Yes.
Like, well, let me see this guy.
Yes, I honestly felt it was a bust, like you said, when originally.
I felt like it was like, oh, he's our 8th pick. He's the 8th guy. And he didn't say no. And, after I know we had talked about, and Stephen M. Smith had also said on his podcast that, and my source confirmed it, that, we can't hire Pruitt because we don't know what the NCAA is going to do, which is so dumb.
Yes.
We can't take on the penalties if they're going to try to just nail them after or in April when they make the decision, or end of March, early April. So I have no problem if what the people are telling me that, basically all he's going to do is recruit, and Pruitt's going to game plan, going to watch film, and that basically Steele is just going to be a body there just doing what he's told.
Oh, yeah.
And that's fine.
Yes, 100%. I mean, reverting back to the whole Pruitt thing, he's a very aggressive. I mean, when he was at Florida State, I believe that they said he was like over aggressive, but we need that. Our linebackers has just, the whole group's just fallen off, man. Like last year, there's nobody. There was nobody that they feared. I mean, if both of them correlating together, I believe that will be great. I mean, I really do. That's a lot of knowledge. But yeah, if Pruitt gets cleared and there's not ghosts or baggage that he's going to bring in Tuscaloosa, I think that both of this, it will be a knockout, man. Because I know that we could get Pruitt for Steele. Anything, he's just trying to get his name back in. I mean, so that, if that comes to fruition, man, I believe that the Steele being the DC and Pruitt just kind of being the, lack of better words, behind the scenes DC, that'd be awesome, man. I would be 100% supportive of that.
The one thing is you're getting experience and you're getting the depth at recruiting when you get Steele, and then when you get Pruitt what you're getting on the field product and developing players. And we talked about before. I know that Saban really liked Golden, but you take away the 3 or 4 dump games, those stats away, we're not even top 20 on defense, and it showed. I mean, the big games, it was like, let's hold our breath. Let's see if we can stop them. And, if it hadn't been for our offense, as much as we bag on Bill O'Brien, I think we'd have lost 2 more games. Like, no, hands down.
Easily we lost 2 more. Golding was good. It just seems like he was just questionable. It was almost like he was just guessing what defense coverages. We weren't really game planning, I don't believe. But, there's way too many close games. The Tennessee game this year was close, but the LSU game, we should have no reason. That I don't know if Alabama as a whole just let themselves down, but that was tough to watch. But so anything could be better. And the thing with Golding is he never got better. You would think after 1 year he would learn. Okay, these mistakes, I'm not going to do this again. It was the same across the board. It never fluctuated, and I'm kind of glad he went Golding.
It never got better. You saw things too where a lot of his schemes I felt were like overcomplicated. He'd be running things, and it wasn't just early in the year. It was even late in the year. A lot of the players looked confused, like they'd look around, like what's going on, and that's another thing heading into this A-Day that we're going to have to figure out on defense. We got a lot of new guys that are going to be there in the backfield. A lot of linebackers are going to be new. Who's going to be the field general at that middle linebacker spot?
Yes.
That's something those 2 guys are going to have to figure out. And we need the toughness back. We don't have an edge anymore. Nobody's afraid to play us on defense. They're like, we got a minute left. We can drive the field. Like we'll figure it out. And that's something that we've lost. And it's not athletes.
No, we have them. Yes, just. There's no Mac Wilsons. There's no Reuben Fosters. There's no, Courtney Upshaws. There's none of that. There's nobody that's, there's no tone setter out there. I know Toto was good, but sometimes it just looked like he was either A, over his head in the complex coverages, or B, like sometimes he just didn't want to hit. Like it just looked like not the aggressiveness was taken away from him. I don't know. We just had nobody. Nobody has stood out. So I'm right there with you.
The other thing I kind of wish they would do is get the checkbook and go out to Texas and grab Bo Davis. Like, we had some of the best defensive lines I'd ever seen in college football. We had him. I would love to have him back. Switching gears now to the offensive side, we saw that Kevin Rees was hired. There's not a lot of history on the guy.
Yeah.
He's young. I get it. He probably can recruit. The history he had at Notre Dame, they believed in him, but from the first to the second year was a drastic kind of a step backwards. We know he likes to run the ball, have power off the offensive line, and kind of set the tone And we know from what we did the last 2 years, our running backs literally had more catches than wide receivers are. We couldn't set a firm line of attack even against teams that were clearly we outclassed on the offensive line. We never could set the tone. That was very, very, very concerning. Now we saw Georgia the last 2 years pretty much take a 09 Alabama team and run through the SEC and win a national championship.
Yes.
And I think Saban's wanting to get back to that. We know Rees, from what he did at Notre Dame, he took probably Division II quarterbacks and got them drafted in the 3rd round 2 years in a row. He did that whatever they had on offense, I would give them this, even though they were outclassed a lot of people, because we know because of their academic standards, they can't get amazing athletes, and that's no secret to anybody. We know that he always game plans for what he has. When we had a Bill O'Brien just he ran a pro offense and did what he did, and he never really schemed for what we had, and it kind of showed. And sometimes he would just get too fancy, and it's just like, run the friggin' ball, man.
Yes.
Like we can run it on this team. Run it. Stop doing end arounds and crazy stuff.
Yeah, we didn't have
your thoughts on that.
Well, yeah, I mean, like this year we didn't have the Jameson Williams deep threat. I mean, it kind of hurt. It kind of showed. From what I've read up on this guy, he is supposed to be almost a Jim McElwain, Doug Nussmeier type deal. Like you said, we want to revert back to almost setting up for the play action, setting up for the deep. I mean, but defenses weren't afraid of us to run against them. It didn't seem like. So it would be soft coverages. I mean, it's tough. So you have to set the tone first, and hopefully this up and coming offensive mind is what we need. And plus, it might be too that he's young and can relate to the players, almost kind of like a Kiffin was. But I know he's younger than Kiffin, but it could be that, like you said, with the whole recruiting aspect, it could be everything in one. Sorry, my phone's going dead. But
no worries.
Yeah, it could be that, man. I mean, I'm kind of excited to see that. Obviously, if Saban gave him the opportunity, he sees something that none of us have. Because I mean, quite frankly, before McElwain was hired out of Fresno, I didn't know who he was, and before Nussmeier, I forgot where he came from, was hired, I had no idea who he was either. So it could just be a diamond in the rough.
Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping it is. Like I said, I'm the jury for me is going to be out for at least the next 2 years, because I want to see him build his stuff, get his guys in there, and realistically, he's going to have a clean slate. If you look at it, he is going to have a clean slate at quarterback. He's going to pick who he wants, whether it's Milroe. Now Milroe, let's be honest, I love the guy. You're going to have to get a better arm. You have a less accuracy than Jalen Hurts had his first year coming into Alabama, and that's scary.
Yes.
But you've got 3 other options that are really good. And we do know at running back we have a stable. You've got McClellan that will probably start. You've got some of the new guys that are coming in, the number 1 and number 2 backs in the country, so they'll probably fight for time. You've got Roydell Williams, who's very dependable. So you have a stable there that's some NFL backs. That's fine. The biggest thing for us is we've got to fight a tight end, and Lord willing, we absolutely have to find a deep threat, somebody that can challenge, because we haven't had that for a year, and it showed. Everybody knew we could not, hit the outside and go, and it showed. We didn't have that alpha dog. We didn't have the guy that was like Williams. We didn't have a Jerry Jeudy. We didn't even have, a Waddle out there. There was nobody. It was like we had a bunch of possession receivers, and that's it.
Yeah, and at the end of the year, spotty people would start showing up and popping up. But yeah, it's hopefully things definitely change around, man. I'm a believer in him, and from what I've read, I think he like a big on the tight ends as well.
He is, yeah. He's very big on tight ends. I think he put 2 in the NFL. If I don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure he did when he was there, and he used them a lot. Now I will say, that's something that we're going to have to work on a little bit. Get that back into play. But the biggest thing I think for the fall offensively is we've got to find the offensive line that can get in the game and push the trenches, and we've got to find some guys on the outside who's fast, who can stretch the field, because what we had last year we didn't have. Now we have some top 10 receivers that did come in from recruiting to us, but who's that going to be? We don't know, but we've got to determine that quick, because we don't have that. And all these teams that are winning big, even though we squeaked out some wins last year, they've all got those guys on the outside. It seems like Ohio State has a never-ending factory of those guys.
Stable.
And Tennessee's got a few of those guys, and most of them weren't pro, but we're going to have to figure out, get a few of them, because if they know all we can do is run and we can't stretch the field, we're going to be in trouble. So that's something we got to figure out. We got to figure out quarterback. In defense, we're going to have to figure out, linebacker situation, who's going to be the field general. And we don't know. We don't know what Steele's going to implement as far as the defense. We assume he's going to run a base 4-3 and then to a 3-4. He's going to have a lot of toys, and I'll be shocked if our defense can't be top 20. I'll be pretty shocked.
Yes.
Honestly,
Well, let me touch base on something real fast. About the quarterback, Milroe is a great quarterback. He obviously got recruited and there, and got on the field a lot this year because he's good. But it's just his passing's got to step it up. I know when Jalen was there his first year, his passing was kind of suspect. He really has to step that up. He would be a great number 2 just because nobody can get scheme against him. If you just throw him out just to get through a game, he's unstoppable. But I just hope somebody else might be able to step it up, or either 8 or his passing comes. Now, touching with the defense, I miss it 3-4. The 3-4 or 4-2-5 to me is the best one, best 2 packages you can do. But the 3-4 back when we had like Mount Cody and them, that just seemed like it was a tough defense. And so, because you get more speed, I know it's technically like a 4-2 or 4-3 because when Cordy Upshaw was playing it, I mean, he's a linebacker, but he's just rushing most of the time with that 3-4. But yeah, if we could start getting back into those kind of packages, I believe that would be awesome.
Yeah, and I think a little bit on the back end side is I know that and we're sad to say right now because everybody went pro, pretty much the best guys that we got coming back, one of them is McKinstry, and McKinstry can be suspect.
God, Kool-Aid was put on the island. If it was red zone, they're going to throw the ball and they're going one-on-one Kool-Aid. I mean,
every time.
You could have taken that to the bank, man. Yeah.
Every time. That's something we're going to have to, and I think if obviously we're going to have Pruitt, even if he's an unpaid analyst or whatever, that's something that he coaches defensive backs. I think he can improve on, because that's an area we have definitely lost our edge in that area. People are not afraid to throw on us at all. Even teams like Utah State, or teams like Utah, they're not afraid. They're like,
yeah.
They know they can get a first down out of us.
Well, especially if we're showing man, and if it's one-on-one on the outside, it's definitely not Kool-Aid. Or it's just his size. I mean, it's not hard when you're in the red zone. I mean, it's definitely man. You're definitely man. It's definitely one-on-one. Yeah, Kool-Aid's got to step it up, which I'm sure he will. I mean, obviously, he's probably knows his flaws. Saban's probably exploited his flaws, and so it definitely will step up. And in this 8A game, we will see it, and I'm looking forward to see it, man. I mean, there's a lot of questions that I have in my head that hopefully will get answered to somewhat. I know that we will ultimately won't get all the answers until the season starts, but it will hopefully resolve a little bit, and we can actually kind of see a little bit of schemes and a little bit of stuff, the offensive packages and everything. They're not going to throw it all out there. It's going to be very base, but at least we can kind of start getting some sort of idea. And, that's what I'm looking for.
8A's, I don't remember an 8A in a long, long time that this many questions have to be answered, or how many position questions have to be answered. They're crucial, not just, it's an extra linebacker. We got a star position that's got to be filled. It's your crucial positions, and it's the one thing that gives me hope about this season and the new changes is there's only, out of every big college football team that went to the playoffs or even got close, there's only a few teams that are bringing quarterbacks back. Like I think USC's bringing their quarterback back, but pretty much all, and then Michigan is, but all the other big boys, they're gone. It's all new cats.
Yeah.
So this year could be very interesting as far as who makes it, who doesn't, who shows up,
Yeah, but it's still going to revolve around. Even, I will say this year too, some of the games that we won, our defense, man. I mean, we put up points. It's just tough. I mean, give Bill O'Brien a little bit of credit. It was Golding back there when letting the team score 30+ points. I mean, you can't really blame a lot of the offense.
The games like we talked about, the games that we've lost, it was in the fourth quarter, the last 2 or whatever minutes, and they were all 7 points or less. So it's it really wasn't, as much as we didn't like Bill O'Brien and his scheme, it wasn't O'Brien. It was Golding.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't score 20, if you score 28 points to 35 points and you lose, that's tough to put it on your offense. I mean, that's really, even though I will say it was a struggle bus watching every time Latu would get on the field, you would almost be guaranteed he's going to get the ball's going to hit him in his hands and he's going to drop it. At least one of every 3 times the ball is thrown to him. It's wide open.
but I mean, in all fairness, and you're right, he wasn't the only one dropping balls. Holden was dropping balls. You got
it was tough.
Oh man, a lot of them. I mean, I can't think of the top of my head. I should have prepared a little bit better on that. But yeah, he was not the only one that was dropping balls. The only one you could guarantee was going to drop a ball was Jahmyr Gibbs. He's the only one that you could be like, 99% of the time he's going to catch it.
Yeah, but I mean, he's also was the workhorse running the ball too. I mean, I wish we could have had him for another year, man. Just because when he got to on the perimeter or he got to the second level, he's gone.
He's gone.
I mean, that's Olympic track speed almost. It looked like. So
that's one thing I will say that I really regret about this year. I feel like if our defense would have been better, under Bryce Young, I think we could have won a national championship. And the sad thing was, when we played against Georgia in the national championship, even if all we had was Jamison Williams, I think we win that game.
Yes. If he didn't go down, we would have. They had not a chance in the world, even with all the talent they had. Man, it was just deep threat ability. I know we would have won it, but obviously,
and we're also seeing in the pros what he's doing too. So
he was definitely something special, man. But that's I hear the better half calling me, man.
All right, man. I appreciate it, man. We'll try to get on next week and do a little podcast. Appreciate you coming on.
Sounds good, bro.
Talk to you later, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.